probably heard of this little tiny site called Facebook. Well, Facebook was created back in 2004, actually 20 years ago. It was made by Mark Zuckerberg and quickly began to spread like wildfire around the world, and today it is the largest social media platform, boasting 3 billion users. That's kind of a hard number to quantify, 3 billion. And so as I was thinking about it, I was trying to come up with some ways that we might be able to just get a grasp on how ginormous that number would be. So if you took 3 billion grains of rice and you ate one every single second, you would have to do that for over 95 years to finish every second. 95 years. Anybody over 95, you don't have to raise your hand. If you're not, you would still be eating rice to this day. So just imagine your life, right? It's a huge number. 3 billion is a massive number. And that is how many people Facebook impacts. Now you might have also seen in the news, briefly covered back on Super Tuesday, Facebook crashed globally. Facebook around the world and some of their other platforms that they own went down, went black, was gone for a handful of hours, and it threw the internet into chaos. Many swarmed to other social media platforms to complain about the other social media platforms being down. Yeah, it was down on Tuesday, and it's rare for these kinds of things to happen where such a large company has a massive global outreach, but it does give us a bit of insight into the human condition. See, while Facebook was down, many people began to react in ways that might be considered similar to an addict going through withdrawals. We saw anger and frustration at folks not being able to get their social media fix. And I got curious. I was wondering about, on average, how often do people spend on their phones every day? And so one of the things, and I even think this might be a little conservative, but this website said on average people spend 3 to 4 hours on a cell phone, the average person. I even think that's a little conservative. It might even be more. Now, if you take that 3 to 4 hours a day and you multiply it by 7 for the week, you get 21 to 28 hours on your phone. That is an entire day. 1 of 7 of your days is spent on a cell phone every single week. And it may even be more than that. Now, that 1 day out of 7 is similar length of time than another 1 day out of 7 in the Bible, the Sabbath. God has told us to rest 1 in 7 days. To take a Sabbath, to take a day of rest. And we spend a similar amount of time on our phones. See, God has built us. We need rest. We are built limited. We have to take time to rest. It's a good thing to rest. But more often than not, we spend that time of rest that we've been given on other things, like cell phones and social medias and other things. But what results is we become an overstimulated people. I mean, if you look at this country, it seems like we are going through an exhaustion epidemic. One study found back in 2022 that more than half of their respondents, about 55%, to this survey had said no amount of rest can help them feel focused. No amount of rest. what's going on here? Is it that we don't have the time to rest? Well, no, I don't think that's the case. What I believe is happening is the things that we call rest are not restful. They are not rest-giving. They're not life-giving. They're not rejuvenating. What we call rest is not doing those things for us. If it was, we would feel focused. We wouldn't feel like no amount of rest it would not rejuvenate us. So no, what we call rest isn't truly restful. What do we do in our downtime? Well, maybe we're watching the news. If you watch the news lately, you know it's not very restful. Maybe we're on social media. I'd say probably the same there. Maybe it's video games or whatever it is. We're doing things that really aren't giving us rest. They're actually stimulating us. See, but the Sabbath, this day of rest where we're to set aside, is to be a day where we unplug from the world and replug back into God, the giver of peace and rest. And so the kinds of rest that we need are not movies and news and social media, and rather the kinds of rest that we need are more time in prayer, meditation on Scripture, moments of silence. So we need to put down our phones and pick up our Bibles, turn off our TVs, and take time for prayer. And I think it's then, and really only then, that we'll find the rest we're looking for.